Hey guys, welcome back. The last video we talked about the situational theory of publics, and today I want to expand on it a little bit more. I want to talk about the evangelist, the very top. So if you haven't seen that video, our very first video, I'm going to link it in the description and you can go back and watch that. But if you're too lazy, here's like a 2-second recap of what the situational theory of publics is. So you have a triangle, and then on the bottom level, you have the apathetic group. And then you have the unaware, aware, and the active group. Now, what we're going to talk about today is that active group. How do you get people to not only just purchase your products, but to love your products, to go out and tell all of their friends, hey, you gotta listen to this guy, or you gotta watch this video, you gotta buy this, it'll change your life. You know, when that happens, they are doing your marketing for you. And that's when it gets really cool. So the question that we're going to answer today is, how do you get people in that very top, top 3%? So I'm going to tell you a story about a guy named Pareto. Pareto was an Italian who lived, I don't know, a couple hundred years ago. He lived a long time ago. And he noticed that a lot of people, a lot of the land was owned by a small percentage of the people in Italy. And so he started going around and he started doing his surveys and started recording all this data. And he found that 80% of Italians' land was owned by 20% of the people. That's crazy, right? A small percentage of people own all of the land. And he didn't believe it. He's like, is this just like this weird thing that's happening in Italy, or should I go and figure this out everywhere else? So he went to Germany, went all across Europe, and he found the exact same thing, that roughly 20% of the people owned 80% of the land. Now you're probably thinking, okay, what does this Italian dude that lived a long time ago and studied land have to do with my business? Everything, okay? So Pareto, you can take this principle that he came up with, right? 20% own 80% and apply it to almost anything. That means that 20% of your customers will make up 80% of your profit. Pretty cool, right? So all of a sudden, if you're looking at your target audience and you're like, okay, I could target that dude, I could target this girl, this sub-demographic, maybe I'm going to go over there. Well, all of a sudden, you just have to figure out what your 20% is, and then all of your marketing efforts goes towards that 20%. Now, as a small business, this is huge because it's going to change the way you think about marketing. And once you get dialed in, you get that 20% correctly, it's going to make it so much more effective, right? So that 20%, if you're targeting that 20% and you're bringing people up these levels, when they get to that active group, they're much more likely to turn into that evangelist group, okay? So let's talk a little bit about that, okay? So right now, typically when I'm going out and I'm looking at my target audience and I'm deciding, okay, who do I want to be my evangelist? Who do I want to be my 20% that's going to make up 80% of my profits? I make 3 categories, okay? So we have persona 1, persona 2, and persona 3, okay? And the reason why I only do 3 personas is because the world is huge. And I could have 20, I could have 15, I could have 100 even, but if I do 3 and I'm being very specific, a lot of the times those people are going to share the attributes, the characteristics that I'm targeting with actual customers. So on my end, it makes it a lot easier to focus just on 3 people, so I can custom all my posts, all my blog posts, like I'm speaking to a specific person rather than targeting this broad audience, right? So with these people, we have to create these personas. So our persona 1, let's do this for a bakery, okay, or an ice cream shop, okay? Who loves ice cream? And I didn't plan any of this, so we're going to be thinking and working through this together. So who loves ice cream? Kids do, right? But kids typically don't have a car. They can't drive, and very often it's going to be really hard to get them to ride a bike to your store, and you can't really target them online because there's a lot of rules around it and it gets complicated. So rather than kids, how can we get our product to kids a lot easier way? Parents, right? more specifically, stay-at-home moms. So we're gonna name our first person Robin, okay? Now, how old is Robin? Robin's probably 35, okay? We're gonna say she's 35 years old, okay? Actually, I'm gonna hurry and write these here so my big head doesn't cover it up. So here's Robin. She's 35 years old. What else do we know about Robin? And if you guys have customers, look at your customers. Look at your email list, go and stalk them, okay? Sounds kind of crazy, but literally grab their emails and go and stalk them because it's gonna take all the guesswork out of this, okay? So we have the name, we have the years. How much money does she make? How much money does her household income make each year, okay? So Robin, she's kind of on the lower end. Her household income is only $65,000, okay? And you're gonna be thinking, wait a minute, like I wanna target people that have a lot of money so they can buy things like ice cream all the time, right? But this is a local ice cream shop. So we gotta really zone in here, okay? So she makes $65,000 a year. Who are her key relationships? Well, she's married, so she has a husband. So she cares a lot about the husband. And she has 2 kids. Now, Robin doesn't work during the day because she's raising her 2 kids, right? And so she's dabbled in Etsy projects and stuff like that, but she doesn't necessarily work all the time. And so during the day, she needs something to fill her time with, right? And so what she does is she actually goes and hangs out with her friends that have kids that are the exact same age, and then she brings those people, the kids and everybody, to the ice cream shop when they've been good, when they've done, their chores, when after a long day of playing soccer or anything. Like there's a million different things that we can think of, right? So the special occasions here are rewards, okay, for kids. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm actually gonna do this for each persona, okay? And all of my marketing material is gonna be faced at this. So when I'm coming up with that marketing material, how do I get someone who's a mom, who makes $65,000 a year, household income, has 2 kids, how do I make them come into my shop more often? Well, I know that being a parent is very, very difficult, so I might create a program that's reward your kids when they do their chores, right? Reward your kids with ice cream when they do their chores or when they do something good, right? So creating a program like that, you don't have to go out and you don't have to go and download, you don't have to go and create a website where they can create a login, set up custom rewards. That's overkill, right? But if you're into digital marketing, you might want to be able to contact the customer and cheer them on as they get closer and closer to their rewards. And so what's a way that you can do that, right? One way is text messages. Twilio, we can talk about that in a later lesson. But another way is your simple email, right? So what I would do is in my shop, I would set up a rewards program where they give me their name, their phone number, and their email. And on that card, literally it could just be a piece of paper. You don't have to go buy an iPad and set that all up. That gets expensive. Just on a sheet of paper, have them write down their name, phone number, their email address, and what their goal is for their kids, okay? And so you can have examples, cleaning your room, doing stuff like this. And you can have some kind of scale on that card. So when they complete it, when that kid completes it, they can come back and get an ice cream cone, a small one, for free, right? And you're thinking, wait a minute, like I'm giving away free ice cream? Giving away a small ice cream cone to one kid so that the whole family can get ice cream. It's a lot better than giving a 10% off, 20% off discount because the family's actually going to go because that kid's going to be saying, Mom, I have that free ice cream cone. I want to go get my free ice cream cone. I cleaned my room like we said, right? And now all of a sudden these kids are becoming your evangelists. They're literally talking their parents into it all the time. And that's how you kind of create traditions and go after your target personas. Okay? So that's how we take our personas and one example of moving them up to where they become evangelists. Okay? So this Robin character, this Robin girl, she might start bringing her friends in, and that's where you have to start thinking, okay, how can I get Robin to start inviting her other friends to join this program? Does this program actually make sense? Is it working? How can I modify it? And then at that point, when it becomes like, oh my goodness, you know, Robin's telling her friends, right? You can imagine it. Oh my goodness, they clean their room. They're nice to each other. They're eating all of their food. And it's just because they want this ice cream. And it's free for them. All I have to do is literally sign up for it. And of course, when I go, I'm going to get ice cream. So they're telling their friends about it left and right. Okay, guys. So that's our video today about the evangelist, how to kind of set up your target personas, and we even talked about Pareto's principle, which we're going to come back to at another time. Okay, guys, see you around. Bye.